The Forsaken Rogues of the Deathstalkers are feared not only for their phenomenal skills of infiltration and murder, but also because they are undead assassins who have no need for sleep, air, food, water, or physical rest. They can pose as corpses in a battlefield or a graveyard, since by all means that is exactly what they are, and can remain submerged in water indefinitely. They originally acted as the elite guard of Arch Lord Varimathras. Their numbers grew with the sanction of Lady Sylvanas Windrunner, and they have since often operated on the front lines where executors hold authority over them.
Hello and welcome back to another action figure review. Now that my voice is starting to get back to its normalcy, maybe we can get some music video pretty soon. But anyway, today we are here to look at this third-party action figure knockoff of a World of Warcraft Forsaken Rogue from Mithril Action Studio, aka Grey Knights. And this is from the series called Guardian of the Horde, and this is number 6 in the series. They have done a lot of really good figures, Mithril Action. Well, not a lot because this is only number 6, but they have done some really good orcs. Uh, but honestly, I have not gotten any. At least I don't think so. Because mostly their orcs are really big, like 8 inches or more, and really Hulk-like. And while that may be true for a World of Warcraft, most of my orcs are on the shelf are like Lord of the Rings and like Mythic Legion orcs. So they are like basic human size. So these Mithril Action orcs would throw my display kind of off kilter a little bit. That's why I've been skipping on the orcs. But now that they are starting to come up with undead characters, I reviewed their Morna, which is their kind of a female take on the Lich King Arthas. I reviewed that a while ago, and she was a really good figure. So Mithril Action definitely they do really good work. So today we are going to look at another non-orc character. This is Keel the Undying. While Keel and the Undying, as far as I know, is not an actual character, but this is modeled after an undead or forsaken rogue in the world of Warcraft. Before we start, just a quick question of the day. Do you guys prefer the current format where I just use the packaging art and the character bio as intro? Or do you guys like the old way where I do a little bit of preamble before the package art and stuff like that? Let me know in the comment section. So Keel the Undying is quite a large figure. One of the comments that I've seen some reviewers says is, oh, he's a little bit too big to fit in with your 6-inch action figure. Well, depending on how you look at it, personally, I think he's okay. He's like just over 7 inches tall, about 7.25 inches tall. So yes, he is a little bit large, but considering most of your 6-inch figures today are not true 6 inches. Like especially if you are collecting fantasy lines, uh, most likely you are doing Masters of the Universe classics or Revelation, or you are doing Mythic Legions, or you are doing NECA's Dungeons and Dragons, which is definitely over 7 inches tall. Savage Crucible, Mythic Legion, Zestray Studio, they're all in that just about 7-inch scale. So mixing with those guys, this Forsaken Rogue is not too big. I mean, he's still a big dude. Like you can tell that when this guy was alive, he's probably a Herculean kind of physique, but it's not out of the question. I mean, if you imagine he was someone like Conan the Barbarian, for example, and then he died and he turned into this Forsaken rogue, then it's totally possible, right? So he's not. He's a little bit bigger than your Mythic Legion human, but not uh, out of the question. Kind of not out of the ordinary. The figure is pretty well constructed. These all these armor pieces are soft and pliable, and they all come off. And even with the armor on, that was not meant to happen. But that's just to show you um, how easy it is to actually pop this figure apart to remove the armor. Yeah, you pop back in very easily. Yeah, that exploding arm flying off was not meant to happen. But you can see that even with the armor on, you can get really good range with these elbows and arms and coming across like that. Yeah, and even with the torso bending forward, bending back. Look how far this can go back. It's crazy, but this has really good range. Now, I want to because this fell off just now, so I'm going to take this chance to show you guys. There's a tiny little piece. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's like a dangly thing that's hanging in the front. This shoot. Uh, Lily la la. Anyway, this goes in the front of the chest, like under the chest plate. There's a little like emblem thing and buckle thing on the chest plate. So just go under there. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if that little piece was meant to come off or did I break it when I was first handling the figure. Because when I was removing the armor the first time, I grabbed that piece and it fell off. So I'm not sure if that's meant to be detachable or did I break it. But it's something to look out for. That little dangly piece under the chest, center of the chest, uh, if it falls off, it can easily go missing on the carpet or under the couch or, it's very small. So it might be a good idea to just super glue that in if you guys want to bother. My uh, my skill with the super glue is not very good, especially with something that small. So I'm not going to do it. But I can totally see that one day this guy's going to do a dive off the shelf, and that piece is just going to go missing, uh, which is quite pissy when you consider this is like a $100 action figure. Anyway, where was I? Articulation's very good. The armor, while it's a little bit hindering, but you can see you can do get a really high kick to the side, uh, squeaky joints, um, kick to the front, knee, double jointed, good ankle rocker, forward and back, toe hinge, very good. Like I love the ankle on this figure. I know he's giving me a bit of trouble, but that is part of the problem is the joints in the knee. Um, and part of the problem is he is a little bit top heavy, especially when I have his war glaives carried on his back like this. I personally like this look because it kind of give him like a almost an angelic wing fallen angel kind of look, right? Like with those sticking out of his back, and give him more of a presence. However, if you don't want this look, you can also change this up. Let me see if I can do this on screen without breaking anything. So these blades on the war glaives, they all come off like so. You just pull them out carefully, and now you just have that little shield piece, kind of hand piece, sticking out of his back, right? And then you can take the warglaive and attach it to the belt. These pouches on his belt, you can attach the warglaives there, like this, right? And now we'll do the other side. Pull that off, pull that off, and attach it to the belt from under, from under. And I think, yeah, that chest piece just fell off again. So luckily, because we're on this hard surface, when it falls off like that, I actually can hear it. Uh, Otherwise, I would never, never be able to find it if it's fall down on the floor. Okay, here we go. So now this is like a different look, right? Now he has his blades attached to his belt, so he doesn't have the warglaive sticking all the way up behind his shoulders. So this will keep him a little bit better centered. He's not so top heavy in this case. So yes, there are quite a few display options, and you can also strip off all these armor pieces and display him more as a kind of a generic mummified corpse. Um, and he has a different head option as well. So yes, there's a lot of display option to be had with this guy, and he's got a good bit of presence about him. And construction wise, it's a little bit lily la la, a little bit dangly, and things tend to fall off. That part I don't appreciate, but otherwise it is like if not because of such easily fallen off pieces, this would have been quite a hand candy of a figure. Now let's look at some posing photos, and then we'll come back and I'll talk about some of the less favorable aspects of this figure. Depending on how you look at it, Keel the Undying either comes with a lot of accessory or barely anything. Let me explain. He comes with 4 pairs of hands, 2 heads, and his 2 warglaive weapons. And that's it. Yeah, barely minimum. He got body parts and weapon. I don't know what else he should have come with, but I'm sure for undead character there should be a lot more. Um, but at the same time, each of the 2 glaives can split into 2 more blades, so he actually gets 4 blades out of that. And then all the outer armor pieces are removable. But if you were hoping for a buck naked corpse, then you're out of luck there because the bandages underneath, they are not removable. They are sculpted on. Articulation wise, he's really well articulated, especially once you remove all the armor pieces. He has double joints and butterfly joints and all the things that should appear on a $100 action figure. Just look at some of the really wacky, twisted poses I was able to get him into. Construction wise, it feels a lot like a Storm collectible figure with a soft shell upper body with the armature underneath. And he stands just about 7.25 inch tall. Price wise, he is also very comparable to most stuff Storm collectible releases, clocking in at around $80 to $100 depending on where you get him from. So even though this is a really good figure and Mithril Action is a really good company and makes a lot of good figures like these, Again, not a lot, but I, when I say a lot of good figures, it's like almost every figure they make in this line has been really good. This there's some problem with Keel the Undying that some of them are just minor annoyances, but some of them can be quite detrimental to your enjoyment of this figure. First and foremost is the knee joint on this guy is kind of, I don't know, like, I don't want to say loose, but it's not tight. It's not firm. And also because of the way the kneecap is in the front, the knee doesn't straighten out all the way. Like when you get to the straight point, then it feels gummy. So it's not a very tight or sturdy joint, which caused this figure to do that. Like it will sag and fall, either fall forward or fall back randomly, even though the ankle's nice and tight, the hip joint's nice and tight. By all means, this should be a really good figure to pose, but because of that wonky, saggy, mushy feeling knee joints, if you don't pose him just right, he will sag either to the front or to the back. It's really annoying. Uh, Another kind of a gripe that I hear from a lot of reviewers, and I also agree, is he's too symmetrical. Uh, by which I mean the bones. Okay, look at how on the left, the right side, you know, left side, right side, the elbow, the meat is missing in the exactly same spot, and it's same with the legs. Okay, then the flesh is missing right at the knee on both sides. Like I think this is too clean of a look, almost like, well, almost like he did it on purpose. like what? He just sits there with a knife and just did that to himself, and oh, okay, I want to make both sides look even, or what? Because it should be more jagged. There should be more random loss of flesh, random exposing of bones. I think that would really enhance the look of this guy. Um, Another issue that I personally find, this one is actually quite annoying, is a lot of these little bits and pieces, like this front piece that keep falling off, and these attachment points for his blades on his belt, and the attachment point for the glaive on his back. Let me take that off so you can see what I'm talking about. That that little uh, loop here. So personally, I love it when a figure can carry his weapons. Like that's really good that they have that there. But these things are not glued on very good. And I actually ripped one off by accident when I was trying to attach his weapon during taking photos, and I had to jimmy it back on there, and it just, again, it's not hard to do, and you can do it very easily, get it back on there, either glue it or just tie it back on with a twine or something. But you shouldn't have to do that. It shouldn't come off that easily when we're talking about a $100 figure. So I think that's something that really should have been thought more on. When I did the review on the Old Town Fairy Elf Guards, I talked about exactly the same thing. Like it's great for us to have belt attachments and pouches and stuff like that, but it doesn't do us any good when they fall off or break off or just like won't stay securely on the figure when you're handling the figure. Especially a figure like this, where one of the, come on, it just it that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like if you shift its balance a little bit, it will sag because of a knee problem. A figure like this, where part of the joy is putting on and removing the armor, having small random pieces that will break off, it's not ideal. Okay, it's just like I was going to take off his armor for this second segment, but I really don't want to break something else, so I decided to just leave it on. You guys already uh, saw what he looked like without the armor during the slideshow, so I think that's okay. Other than those little, well, some of them not so little problems, uh, it's not a bad figure really, and definitely up to Mithril Action's usual standard in providing us with a well-made World of Warcraft figure that we can't get anywhere else. It's perplexing why, with all this fantasy craze and no big company like, why isn't NECA, why isn't McFarlane picking up a World of Warcraft or Diablo or Soul Calibur kind of license? It's just really perplexing to me why this is not happening. It's kind of why it's the same thing. Why I don't understand why is it that no companies picking up the Resident Evil license. I mean, NECA did it years ago, but they did a horrible job at it. And back in the early 2000s, Toy Biz and Palisade picked up the Resident Evil license as well, and they actually did okay. But anyway, I digress. With so many great uh, fantasy lines like Mythic Legion, the Savage Crucible, and Army of Ashmore and uh, uh, the dinosaur battlefield, all this great stuff out there. This would be a great time for a company to pick up World of Warcraft license and bring us these really awesome character designs. Uh, but since there's not, then we have to resort to getting it from companies like uh, Memory Toys, Medi Toys, uh, maybe even snail shells, uh, and for now, definitely from Mithril Action or Grey Knights, where you can get this big, chunky figure design. Oh yeah, Bro Toys also make World of Warcraft knockoff figures as well. Like I showed the uh, Storm King action figure review a while ago. That was basically based off of Varian Rim in World of Warcraft. Now let's have some final words, and I'll thank you in advance for sticking to the end of the review. We really are living in a golden age of action figures, especially undead type of action figures. I mean, and I can't even personally think of another undead type, skeleton type action figure that's this well articulated and well built before Keel the Undying. Mythic Legions gave us a lot of beautiful skeletons, but yeah, let's just not talk about the lack of articulation in Mythic Legion figures, at least up until now. These not serve world, but third-party companies like Mithril Action, Medi Toys, and Memory Toys, these companies from China have really been knocking it out of the park, and it is why personally I've been shifting my focus onto buying more third-party figures in the last few years. If you have gotten the Sylvanas Windrunner Forsaken Queen action figure from Mithril Action, then you definitely need Keel the Undying to go with her. Even if you don't have that one, then I think Keel the Undying still go really good as a member of the Sons of the Red Star with your Mythic Legions. Thank you for checking out today's review. We'll be back again later.